had a conversation with one of our guys maybe 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Came in on a Friday
Yeah.
to work, and I went out to take a pee, as we do, and I noticed that one of our guys was on the ice. And I came in and asked you if he was on the ice, and you said yep. And I was a little bit confused and a little bit pissed off because Friday is supposed to be their off day. So they're every day, Monday to Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, they're working out or on the ice or both multiple times a day. And Friday is the sacred off day.
Yeah.
And now people
The
have a hard
necessary one.
Yeah, it's the necessary off day, and people have a hard time taking off days and taking breaks. And this is always with the caveat that you work hard enough to begin with, because there's also the flip side where people take too many breaks because they haven't learned how to work hard yet. Almost all of our guys, without exception, work, man. They work. So they need to take a day. And so I called him on it because I was a little bit annoyed and disappointed that he wasn't following the prescription. So we talked about it for a bit, and I was just trying to pick his brain about why did he feel the need that he should be on the ice again on Friday when I know he's bagged, and it was early too, so he didn't get to sleep and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't the fact that he was on the ice, it's the fact that he's not taking his recovery day now. So I was trying to ask him about that, and he gave me a lot of answers that a lot of people give. And that's kind of what I wanted to frame the topic about today is sticking to the plan that you make for yourself, because that can be a very difficult thing to do because you don't get to see progress day to day when you're in a plan that's longer term. I'm talking in the 4+ month at a minimum. It's hard to see that you're getting better or that things are working or whatever. And the tendency, especially for kids and for parents a lot too, is they feel like they need to be doing everything. They need to have their foot in every bucket. They need to make sure they're not missing out on something. They need to see every trainer and experience every single thing that is around so that they don't miss something. But the problem is that in the process of doing that, you end up taking away from what the structured plan was. So if you're assuming you're with somebody who is developing a plan or a program for you that is intelligent, and it's somebody that you trust, and it's somebody that you know cares about you, I want to talk about that, just that, trying to as best you can to stick to that, maybe a little bit about dealing with the distractions that are going to come with trying to do that. Maybe I'll touch on a little bit about discipline in terms of your programming and all that kind of stuff. So I'll leave it there, and we'll see where we go. I'll just get your starting thoughts on that before we kind of keep going.
That's a really good one. It's really hard sometimes. Like I said, I used this line before. In a house, you have there's motivated parents and motivated players, and usually in the house, they don't live in the same house. So a lot of times you'll see a kid that they just feel like they have to be doing more, and there's reasons I guess, but they always think that if someone else, because you always hear someone, if you're not working, someone in Russia is. If you're not doing that, someone else somewhere.
My dad used to say it to me all the
time.
time.
And it's very true. That's true. But if you use that principle, then you'd never sleep. You'd just be working out, and you'd never be doing enough. And that's not a fair way to do it. How you have to look at it is that when I have my allotted time, speaking of being in a program, what you have to make sure you're doing is, if it's the workout time and you have an hour and a half workout or hour workout, that workout has to be given 100% of your effort, the best that you possibly can. Give everything you have. Don't leave. If you're looking at if you're shooting for 1 rep max, shoot for the 1 rep max. Don't cut yourself short, so that at the end of the day you actually did what you tried to do. But your focus has to be 100%, not 100% focus all the time, but 100% focus while you're doing your task. And that means your off day needs to be the same thing. 100% relax the best that you can. So that's a thing where when you do your task, do it well, and then you won't have any regrets. Right. So then when you go on the ice and it's like you plan out your summer training for on the ice now, it's like, okay, this has to be an intelligent way of doing it. And you got to pick, okay, what am I going to do? Do I need to just stick handle all summer? Maybe that's your thing. Well, You can't go everywhere all the time and just do more, like that focus on what you need to focus on. The other problem with that, there's a couple of reasons why this happens too. Um, Parents a lot of the time will think that their kids are missing out on stuff, and they are more motivated to get their kids ready than the actual kid is, right? So sometimes a parent will suggest, "Oh, you need to do this. You're not working hard enough," and they push the button so much that and they're looking, or sometimes they get pressured as well. So I have a lot of customers like that because I could consider them friends too. And there's something, and I always throw out, I'm doing this, this, and this. Don't, and I'll do the qualifier. Don't feel like you need to do this. I'm just letting you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I would suggest you actually take time off or whatever. But then I get them saying, uh, they sign up anyways because they feel like they're offending me
Right.
if I don't. I'm like, that never, never,
Right.
never. You're never offending me. But like, I could use that guilt trip on a lot of people and say, guys, you need to be here, or well, you can't skate anywhere else, and you got to make sure I'm making my money too.
And trainers do that.
100%. That's why I'm saying it. It's like you don't go to someone because they guilt you, right? There's that. There's a lot of reasons why people do it, but what the other thing you have to understand is, and this is I think from a coach trainer side, I think I've said this before, but I've always had a lot of times where coaches would say, "Hey, I want you to work with my team," and it's like, okay, that's good. I want to, but and work them hard, or work on this. Like if I was doing a specific thing for the team, that's one thing. But when they would bring them in the gym, and then they were looking for something like bag them at the end of the day. But it's like there's a time and a place where that's appropriate, and then there's a time and a place where it's not. So like in the summertime, in training time, like the part that would get on your nerves, and I know would not hurt your feelings, but what bothered you about that 2 weeks ago when that guy was on the ice is because you worked your ass off. We all have worked our ass off, but you particularly are so invested in his success in the gym to make him a better hockey player that you took hours and hours. And I'm going to try to make him feel bad here. No, but for all those kids that you did the programs, specifically a handful that are high achievers right now, that you took time, like more, like if that program is $100, let's say they paid $100, you've given them 1,000 worth, and the investment that you put in it was for them, and you're dialed into it as much as they are, every individual. So now when that person is, you ask how you're eating, what did you eat, what are you weighing, all this stuff, because you want them dialed in, and you pay attention to the recovery, all these things are important to you. So the problem is that when they go out and do something else like that, where you go out and you just go spend another 1,000 calories for no reason, where you should be resting, your recovery's done, now it affects your training. Right. Yeah. So so the kids, you got to remember, and parents, you got to remember, when you're hiring people to do the job, you have to take in consideration, like, where's my biggest bang for the buck, right? So if I've got my on ice trainer, off ice trainer that are highly invested in me, and then I get another thing here and here that maybe the coach says I have to do, or this one looks good and it's hard and stuff. Well, then the two people that are really highly invested in you don't know what's going on over here. It's not that you're doing this thing over here. It's that now you're messing this up. Right. Like I can't tell you how many times. Okay, I'll tell you this. This is a quick story. Okay, so I had a guy who played for the Spits. He was from out of town. Who was staying in the summer. His dad had a lot of money. He said, "Can you train my son? He needs to specifically work on skating." Right? He was a first rounder. I said, "Yeah, for sure." He goes, "He's going to spend the summer, but like, how many times a week would you need to do this to make it effective?" So I said, "It's going to take 2 times a week, and for about 6 to 8 weeks for it to make a difference, that I can work and progress." Okay, cool. How much? So I said, based on that amount of training, it's going to be
this much.
Is private, right? And he goes, "Okay, great. So 2 things here. Twice a week. I need this skating. Can you fix the skating?" I said, "Yeah, I can do that." "How much?" That's a lot of money, right? So first session, guy comes out, and he looked like he got hit by a Mack truck.
Oh yeah.
So I said, I go, what, you all right? He goes, "Oh, my trainer just, it was June." He goes, "We just did the hill we did a 2-3 miler plus the hill, and plyo jumps on the hill." And I said, "In June?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "You can't," he goes, "I can hardly stand up." I said, well, that's not good.
Yeah. You're here to work on
Well,
skating.
yeah, you can't come here for right, and now the kid can't even. I can't be effective. I can't as a trainer. So now I'm no good.
And the parents will think it didn't work.
Well, this is
Yeah.
this
This
could
is
be
what
this could
is what
be the-
happens, right?
Yeah. So I said, well, do you think you can talk to this guy about like maybe letting him know that on this day you're going to be doing skating, you're going to be in that hip hinge and using your quads so much that maybe, and it's important that you're a good
Fresh.
skater. Yeah, fresh, and you're a good
Yeah.
skater. So yeah, I'll try, but every time we come in, it's like it was a waste of time. So my point of that is like when a coach says, "Okay, you guys are going to go to PowerTech now on a Tuesday night during your season," or we're going to do, because a couple of coaches have done that. It says, "Can you take them on the ice 2 hours a day and have them in the gym and just bag them?" That's what they say. Hey, work them hard. It's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Don't be scared to work them.
so from my perspective, it's like I always go, yeah, I can, but I said, who are they training with? Like, not all these kids are PowerTech guys, and or the ones that are do not need that extra skate, or they do not need that
Exactly, man.
that extra workout. So it's like, yeah, I know what you're doing, but God, is this not good for them?
Yeah.
So that's like, there's so many offshoots of that.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
like stick to the plan.
Yeah, for sure.